So I'm Denise Sherman. I've lived in the area my entire life. I'm 45 years old. I grew up in Seneca, moved to Westminster, and now I live in Townville.
I'm Robert Sherman. I go by Jim. I moved here I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. Moved here when I was a senior in high school. I got a body shop. Always been in the automotive business. Worked on cars. Met her, picked her up at the Kmart up in Seneca. So I called her over the car and we've been together ever since.
And so we've been married for 26 years. And we have 3 kids, and they're all grown now. We have one that's 25, one that's 22, and one that's 19. And our youngest is still at home.
Yeah, she's had 26 years of this. She's that lucky. We've had some good times and bad times. We've always been there for each other, though. And we support our family and our kids. And, when I went through, with COVID, when I went through that, she was right there through the whole thing with me. For a week I was sick, and I kept working because that's what I do. And by the second week, it was so far settled in that it turned into pneumonia, and I didn't know it. And then she's like, we're going to urgent care. She's like, your legs are turning blue. The lady x-rayed me, and she's like, you got COVID pneumonia, both of your lungs are covered. I'm like, well, can I go home? I'll just go on home. She's like, listen, you leave here, you go straight across the street to the hospital, to the emergency room. If you go home, you will die. And so I had my cell phone. I said, I want you to tell my wife what's going on. I FaceTimed her. I dialed the number, and I seen her answer the phone. And I had the lady start telling her. She started crying. I said I was going to be all right. But before I had called her, I asked them, what's my chances here? And I said, just be straight with me. And they said I had like a 50-50 chance.
It was very scary. When we first took him to the hospital, the doctors kept telling me, he's going to be fine. He has a long way before he would be put on a ventilator. But then day after day, his numbers got worse and got worse. And about probably 8 days in, they ended up having to take him to the ICU. And he was in there for a day. And then I got a phone call at like 5 in the morning, telling me they're going to have to put him on the ventilator. And that was like, that feeling was just indescribable. Because the nurse was holding the camera up. We were FaceTiming, and she was holding the camera up to his face for me to tell him goodbye. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I may not ever talk to him again. They woke him up off the ventilator about a month in, after being on the ventilator, and then it took a few weeks for him to actually kind of comprehend what was going on around him. And, but each day when he was on the ventilator, the doctors would come in, look at his charts, and would just not have anything positive to say. And it was like day after day, it was just, I don't know, it was just so heartbreaking, because we were thinking we were making progress because the settings on the ventilator was being turned down each day, and we were getting better and better. But then the doctors would tell me now he has a 20% chance of making it. And, we were thinking he's getting better. But then we just kept getting bad news and bad news and bad news. And until, he finally did turn the corner, and we had doctors just coming in, one after another, looking at his charts because they couldn't believe that he was getting better. And the one doctor, came to me and he said, I can't really explain this. All I could say is your prayers is the only thing that's really working. He's like, because I've done everything that I've done for him, that I've done for everyone else.
I was laying there and I'm like, what is going on here? And then I remember seeing her, her coming up, and when I come to, the first people I seen was her and then that doctor. And it was just, I can't explain it. It was almost like it's like a dream, you know what I mean? I just remember, and I was just laying there and I just couldn't talk to anybody, so I was just looking at the ceiling, and I just remember praying to God. I was just like, this is it. I mean, basically, I just kept asking myself, I said, give me another chance, and I was making a lot of promises, and I'm trying to keep to them, and within it's just crazy, within 2 weeks, I was off the ventilator and up and walking. I honestly believe, when I was sitting there talking to God, I feel like He gave me a second chance, and I do honestly believe that all the people praying for me, that were there for my wife and kids, it's like this thing has changed my family. I wasn't raised in church like my wife was and my kids were, but it's what I've went through, it's made us tighter, and I've just noticed that my kids' faith is a lot stronger. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Just like my daughter, and just where the community pulled together and supported my family.
Yeah, the day that he got put on the ventilator, a lot of the members of this church actually came to our house and surrounded me and my children with prayer. And one by one, they laid their hand on us and prayed with us, prayed over us. The next day, they went to the hospital where he was staying, and they actually marched around the church praying. I feel like that was the only thing that really got us through all of this, was the whole community, was there for us, and our family was there.
Sometimes I think I may have went through what I went through just to basically, I've been put through a lot growing up. I've told you before some of the stuff I dealt with growing up, and from seeing what I've seen up when I lived up in Michigan, it's made me sort of not believe in God. You know what I mean? Because you see this stuff happening and you're like, why, if there's a God, why would this kind of stuff happen? Why would people be doing this? But after going what I've been through, it's like, the only way I can see it is there's a God, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. If it wasn't for people's prayer, I honestly believe that. 100%. I wouldn't lose their faith. I wouldn't give up, and God's there for you whether you realize it or not. Sometimes people can't see it, but he's working. You just gotta hold to your faith, not give up.
God has showed me not to give up, and to rely on other people in faith to help you pull through this and get through things. There's people there for you. There's people that will pray with you and for you, and just don't give up. Basically,
life's short. It's giving me another chance. It's like I just look at things totally different now. Things that used to aggravate me, they don't aggravate me as bad as they used to. I'm trying to look at the bigger picture here. You know what I mean? We're only here a short period of time, and try to have good people around you.
I'd just like to say a big thank you. We couldn't have made it through it without, everyone at the church. They just made such a huge difference.
Anything else y'all want to add?
Just keep your faith. Keep your faith in God. He'll see you through.
Great.
Yeah, you laughing at me?
Perfect. Thank you guys.